What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Trapper channel, coming to you with a Week 5 edition of NFL Lindy's Things, Likes, and Logs. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell goes a long way for me on this video, goes a long way for you. That way you become impressed with our great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Ended up coming to you here Saturday early in the morning. Had some stuff last night to take care of as well. Put out MLB Lindy's for the Saturday slate. Hopefully you're able to check that out, and hopefully we're able to profit. But coming to you nice and early here in the morning on Saturday before college football, before everything else, because I'm sure Iowa State's going to put me in a bad mood. Don't feel good about this Cincy game. It is what it is. But we're going to head ourselves over to Week 5. We got a ton to get to, plus Week 4 ended up being a really nice week for me overall. Again, anytime you can be profitable in the NFL streets, those are good weeks. And, well, we've had a couple of really nice strings now over the course of the last few. And, again, nothing crazy profitable. Haven't hit, like, massive parlays or things of that nature, but have some really good prop reads yet again for this week, and I'm excited to share them with you. Before we get there, of course, we still got Lindy NFL. That is rocking for you here. Had wildcard going for the people who were able to take advantage of that for the monthly, but yes, weekly just $10, monthly just $25 when you check it out for your first week using code Lindy NFL. Would love to have you all. Mike, that's good. All right. Start in the lean department, as we always do. For those who have never tuned in before, leans, those are things I'm thinking about betting, or things that are just the best available play from the game because I have no interest in betting it. I'm usually very specific about how I go about that. Then when we look at likes, those are going to be things that are from like around a quarter unit all the way up to around a unit. And then unit or more, those are going to be your locks. I don't have any locks on this program, so it's going to be just straight out half unit plays, likes that we're going to be getting through. But these are the leans. These are things that are not quite there yet. Jonathan Taylor, though, you have a Michael Pittman who's dinged up. You have Josh Downs, who hasn't been on the field all that much. And then you have Addie Mitchell, who might not even play football now because of a fumble. He made an amazing move, and it was a boneheaded fumble. Not going to go there. Obviously, that ended up being a huge factor in the game. But, yeah, Indy's still rocking. Daniel Jones has been really, really good. But Jonathan Taylor in this ground game and this offensive line have been extremely impressive. And this Raiders defense doesn't really add anything to the table for me. Ashton Genty, I said it. He's probably going to smash against the Bears. He eviscerated the Bears for what it's worth. Goes back to the Michael Myers stance. Happy Halloween, everybody. But Jonathan Taylor, 100 plus. Yeah, this one feels almost too easy, but the prop lines have started to move up. These are plays that I could still make on Sunday, and it's probably not going to change. It's not like people don't know, not like books don't know that people are looking at the 100+ market. Oh, I'm going to parlay 3 guys that I think have the 100-yard marker and then move along with their days. I'm always tracking the numbers, though, because it's all about price and probability. And right now, it's just on the outside looking in. Just on the outside looking out, both of these teams, the Giants and the Saints. I will say, Jackson Dart, really nice debut for him. Surprise upset there of the Chargers. He looks good with his legs, which is a weird thing to say about another man, but I respect him. I love my wife. But we've got Jackson Dart, who I don't know what he can necessarily add with his arm. We have no Malik Neighbors, who ended up having a very unfortunate injury out for the rest of the year. Hopefully that leg, that knee can come back all right, because he is so beyond special. Absolutely loved him last year, made us tons of money on this program. He was a very, very important part of my 2024 NFL season, which... yeah, I could have been. I mean, Malik Neighbors was incredible from a fantasy perspective as well. It is what it is. But now you're going up against the Saints here. This is just a rush defense that Cam Scadaboo should still be able to just dominate himself. I don't love this game in general, and I do think New Orleans is actually the more intriguing side of it, just at the price. I don't like Spencer Rattler. I don't think anybody does. But Chris Olave is going to have one of those big games sooner rather than later. His expected workload in this game, especially with a dinged up Juwan Johnson, is through the roof. Just think it's so tough to invest in a New Orleans team that I don't trust to do the right things. Kellen Moore, he'll have this team firing in the next year or two, but there'll have to be a lot of roster turnover before then. It's just a disturbing football game. Justin Fields, anytime touchdown. That one felt really, really sharp. Was it last Monday? Ended up adding it plus 200. It was plus 210. We ended up getting anytime touchdown for Justin Fields. It's plus 145 against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, just saying, you want to be early to the party on these things. Justin Fields misses a game. Tyrod Taylor comes in, looks like a dum-dum. Justin Fields returns and people just forget, oh yeah, he scrambles around a lot and is probably one of the most special runners with the football that we've seen at the quarterback position ever in the NFL, like legitimately ever. And Justin Fields ends up taking it to the house against Miami there. They still haven't won a football game for what it's worth, but I think he is going to dismantle this Cowboys team. I think there are lots of alternate numbers that are in play. I do think also, in addition to his anytime touchdown, which again is on the outside looking in at the moment, just because the numbers dropped, 65 cents from where we bet it last week. Not going to say that I'm ahead of the curve on these things, but I try to be. I might actually be looking at some of his passing volume. I really like Taylor at the tight end position. I really like Wilson at the wide receiver position. We know Garrett Wilson a lot more timeline of events there, but Mason Taylor, somebody that showed out in a big way last time around, tons of volume, at least 7 catches for 60 plus, looked pretty darn good in Miami. Justin Fields, anytime touchdown, but I think 2 touchdown passes against this putrid Cowboys defense is definitely on the table. Probably the least appealing game that I have on the entire slate, Denver and the Eagles. Saquon Barkley, we appreciate his service. He cashes the lock for us last week against Tampa. That was a ridiculous, asinine number when you just look at historical data and how the Eagles play football. Sure, Tampa Bay is one of those teams that you have to throw the ball on a little bit more to be effective. Todd Bowles, he's really, really good at calling defenses and really good with Vita Vea in the middle, stuffing the run, but that was still absurd that we were able to get minus 130, minus 135 on Saquon Barkley anytime touchdowns. But now Bo Nix and Denver's defense come to town. And I said this before, I do think that Denver's top to bottom, their defensive roster is as impressive. They had to get more performance out of Patrick Surtain this season. They had to get more performance out of some other pieces in that secondary. But Nick Bonito is just an absolute freak of nature, the likes of which this world's never seen before. Can they, in any way, shape, or form, get after Jalen Hurts there in the passing game? If they can, I do have confidence that Saquon Barkley can keep the lid on in this matchup, like that they can keep the lid on him just because of how they play community defense. And overall, Bo Nix going up against this Eagles secondary, he's already a short ADOT guy. There are some intriguing options here just in terms of pass volume. Cortland Sutton, probably not going to be there for me, even though he's definitely your number one there. But Troy Franklin, Adam Troutman, guys of that nature that just really, really stand out in a weird way because, well, I think that they're going to have to get really low ADOT stuff as the Eagles go too high. We know that they really don't blitz. They don't have to when Jalen Carter exists, as long as he's not Tua and spinning on that thing. Don't do that. That's bad. Last batch of leans here. Again, I've got 4 plays for you coming up here in a second in the light category, but want to cover all these. Houston's defense is still just nasty getting after the quarterback. And now it's going to be Cooper Rush back there and not Lamar Jackson. We've seen this line flip from Baltimore, where they were at open like 2.5-point favorites. And, then it just seemed like Lamar Jackson wasn't going to end up playing. This is all flipped to Houston as road favorites against the 1-3 Baltimore Ravens. What a time to be alive. Now, if I know Lamar Jackson was going to get dinged up, if I knew that they were going to lose Hamilton last game, there were going to be some major issues with that Kansas City and Baltimore game. I ended up on the Baltimore side of it, and that did not look good in hindsight for sure. But Dalton Schultz over 3.5 receptions here. You've got to get something going here for CJ Stroud. He has not looked good in his 3rd season now. I thought last year a little bit of a mirage, and I've never been high on Ohio State quarterbacks coming into the NFL purely because when you get to play with absolute number ones like Jackson Smith and Jigba, we could go down the line with everybody. Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., even though that hasn't been pretty lately. There are some unbelievable talents there that just make life so easy at Ohio State. Doesn't happen when you end up on the Houston Texans, unless, Stephon Diggs doesn't get hurt. And Christian Kirk can play at the beginning of the year. And Nico Collins can just have that hamstring stay attached to his body. It's been some pretty unfortunate run, I think, for CJ Stroud. So I'm somewhere in the middle on him where, I was really low on him coming in. He made me look like an idiot his rookie year. Last year, a little bit of smoke and mirrors. Tank Dell, catastrophic knee injury, and obviously the rapport those two had. It's going to be weird times still for CJ Stroud. Once Tank Dell, is he going to come back this year at some point in time? What do I have on my sheet? Yeah, he's probably not going to be back this year, but that's neither here nor there. What is here is Tajay Spears' season, right? Yeah. Yeah, he's questionable entering this game. Now, this is an afternoon one in Arizona. Arizona's got major running back issues themselves here in this spot. And we'll get into some other running back issues that exist throughout the NFL here as we go along. But Michael Carter, DeMercado, these are going to be your backfield pieces for Arizona. I'm sure from a fantasy perspective, you went to the wire, you found guys there. But from a betting perspective, I think it's really hard to figure out who's going to be getting the main target share, who's going to be playing more in the passing game. I think that's DeMercado, even though Michael Carter, that's how he was utilized at the University of North Carolina. He was in a two-headed backfield with Javonte Williams. And yeah, real ones in the college football streets know. And that's when I was betting college all the time, even though I've never done videos for it, purely because, well, college fan bases are crazy. You'd think, God forbid I bet against your team in college. I don't care. I bet the numbers. It's whatever. But Tajay Spears, he's somebody that I think mixes in quite a bit in the passing game. So when I say ladder, I'm really looking at Tennessee, who should be still kind of getting pieced up on the defensive side. I think Tajay Spears in a come from behind mode. I think maybe snagging some reception yard props and laddering it up ever so slightly makes some major sense, because that is how he's going to be utilized more, as opposed to Tony Pollard, who's getting all of the groundwork. We know that. Cincy. Taking on the Detroit Lions here at home. They're 10.5-point home dogs. I mean, that is just funny. That's outwardly funny. Now, I don't know what to make of this Bengals offense. Like, can they actually get something done against Detroit? I think so. I think this is the first time that we're going to see Jake Browning in a spot where they're at home. He's going to get some run. These were some pretty tough spots. I mean, that's really what this comes down to, is like Cincinnati, they landed in some awful road spots, having to take on a Flores defense in Minnesota and then heading to Mile High. That's your first two starts without Joe Burrow. And I know that he played, Jake Browning that is, played a majority of week 2 and looked pretty decent against Jacksonville. I think we get more of that in this home stint, even against Detroit. So I'm kind of intrigued by the 10.5. It's not going anywhere. Not like the money's not going to be available for me to get on Cincy if I want to there. But Detroit, this is one of those teams that you get them out of their home turf, and I never know what to make of them. I mean, I bet against them with Baltimore. Just don't bet Baltimore with me this year. We're just not going to do that anymore. But Cincy plus 10.5, running some of the numbers, some of the DVOA. I mean, they blow people away with the ground game. It is what it is. Amon-Ra St. Brown, some of the best air yard numbers you're going to run into over on Add More Funds, period. So, like, yeah, it just feels unnecessary at the moment. But I am intrigued by Cincinnati. Might be a live play for me. Watch a quarter. Hey, Jake Browning doesn't suck today. And then pulling the trigger then. New England going up against Buffalo. This is your Sunday evening game. And I ended up finding something intriguing somewhat to some extent here. We're going to have James Cook. He ended up getting laddered by me here on Friday evening, Saturday morning. So I know that goes in the lean category for now, but I really don't trust New England. They've played absolutely nobody so far this season. We've had to see them go against the Steelers, I suppose, a decent enough ground game because Kenneth Gainwell's the truth. That was sarcasm for what it's worth. I hate the fact that I played against him in like every fantasy team last week, but it's neither here nor there. Jalen Warren people got bailed out. That's for sure. Bailed out. Anyway, yeah, New England hasn't faced anybody, but they're the best run defense in the NFL. Yeah, James Cook's rushing prop is at 73.5. You could play that solo, but I also just went one rung up each on the ladder. 80 plus was just above plus 110. 90 plus was just above plus 175. 100 plus was above plus 250. I mean, this was just an absolute smash of a ladder. So James Cook, this is the best rushing team in the NFL. It's them. I mean, Detroit, Buffalo, 1-2 in any capacity you want. But I know where it's coming from here. It's going to be a lot of James Cook. Sure, a little bit of Josh Allen, although put some bubble wrap on Josh Allen sooner rather than later, even though that's not how he plays football. And we love him for that. We absolutely love him for that. Guys, before we get to the likes, get to the actual plays for the week, 50% off. Just wanted to remind you, that's all good and dandy. Lindy NFL, you can sign up for that. That's going to be going for at least another week. But be like Lindy, join Tails today. We have so many free plays, so much goodness, excuse me. I should know my English. So much goodness going on over at Tails right now. You go to tails.bet/Lindy. You can find me. You go to tails.bet. You can head to all of the good expert picks page that we have rocking, rolling, free analysis, free goodness from so many of the people, so many of our experts in-house here at Tails. So jump on in, be like Lindy, join Tails today. Alrighty, y'all, to the plays we go. Nothing like starting over in good old England. We're heading to London. 35.5 total. Dylan Gabriel taking over quarterback duties here for Cleveland. I think Dylan Gabriel's all right for what it's worth, and we'll get into that a little bit more. But first, the Minnesota side. It was embarrassing. Having Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh just eviscerate your defense like that. Flores is better than that. I know that he's better than that. We all know that he's better than that. But Carson Wentz, he's probably not better than that. And he's going to be taking the helm yet again. And every offensive line piece is out for Minnesota. I mean, Clark and our entire right side of the offensive line, including Ryan Clark at the center. I mean, it's going to be a piecework trying to get everybody in there. And then Cleveland, heard they have pretty good defensive pieces. Really good. This is going to be a little bit of a disaster. But Dylan Gabriel at Oregon, I thought he was extremely serviceable. I thought he was serviceable at Oklahoma for what it's worth. That's where he was really featured at. And Oregon, a little bit more of a game manager style. They had enough offensive firepower around him that they didn't have to go completely crazy and let Dylan Gabriel go out and cook. But there were a number of times he went out and cooked. They ran into the Ohio State buzzsaw. He had that weird interview for what it's worth too. But the whole point here is that Dylan Gabriel, I think, is much better. He's a lefty spinner, makes quick decisions, and he's been in some really professional systems back in college, Oklahoma, Oregon, into the NFL. I think he's going to be better than people expect. And Joe Flacco is one of those guys that, man, we thought he was washed 2-3 years ago. He has a very resurgent Indy tenure. And, well, all of a sudden we were back in on Joe Flacco and thought there were going to be a lot of passing attempts and come from behind mode from them. He didn't look very good this year, though. And he was spreading the ball around to Fannin, Njoku a little bit, not really even, but the forgotten guy is Jerry Jeudy. And I think Jerry Jeudy shows out against Minnesota. You got to find your number one here. And it sounds as though he and Jerry Jeudy have had some pretty good rapport going back to the summer. The main reason I'm buying now is this went from 46.5 to 42.5. Sometimes for number ones, especially with a quarterback change, you're going to see a dip. I mean, look at Justin Jefferson, sub 70 yards. He's at 69.5 receiving yards. I have no interest in that for what it's worth. But this is a change in the guard at quarterback that I think could benefit Jerry Jeudy as he gets zeroed in on. That's something that Dylan Gabriel was very good at Oklahoma, is kind of keying in on his 1-2 guys and just absolutely letting it rip. So Jerry Jeudy, plus get the ball out of your hands fast against Flores in this defense. So Jerry Jeudy over 42.5 receiving yards. I would play this back up to 44.5. So if it gets played up a little bit, no worry, baby. No worry. Oh, shoot. You didn't see anything. Miami taking on Carolina here next. And this one, for being such a disgusting football game that's basically a pick'em, I have a lot of props that I am interested in. But we're going to begin with what the hell Miami does here. Jalen Waddle is going to be one of those dudes who either completely nukes for the rest of the year and becomes like your fantasy number one, or completely does not live up to expectation and Miami just completely implodes on itself. Tyreek Hill out for the rest of the year. If you missed that news, I don't know how you would have, but it's worth repeating. Jalen Waddle is going to absolutely be the number one. There's no close number two. You got Westbrook-Ikhine, which coming from Tennessee into Miami as the wide receiver 3. This kind of vaults him into that wide receiver 2 role, but Malik Washington, he's kind of a gadget guy. I do think that this probably benefits Devon Achane secretly more than anybody. I mean, you know his passing volume, 37.5, 38.5. I saw as kind of his receiving yards props for this week. Don't have a ton of interest, but I do think we're going to see some massive ceiling performances from him. Maybe lining up in the slot a little bit even. Like, Devon Achane has that dog in him, but we're going to the Carolina side. Everybody is talking about Chuba Hubbard out. It is absolutely, no doubt about it, going to be Rico Dowdle's season. I'm not convinced about that. In fact, Trevor Etienne had 2 red zone carries last week, week 4. Rico Dowdle had 0. If you're telling me that we're going to get red zone carries and that they trust Trevor Etienne to be that guy already, man, do I think that there is a massive ceiling on 16.5. I thought about a little bit of a ladder here as well. I think this is also one of those that you could play live. I don't talk a lot about live betting just because it's one of those hard things to teach people to do. There are opportune times to do it. There are inopportune times to do it. I think this is one of those where if you see Trevor Etienne mixing in a little bit more early in the first quarter or, a little bit into the second quarter, I would be looking at jamming something inside of 20 yards, like absolutely jamming it because I don't think he's good. Miami's defense is horrendous. And I think by default, something breaks your way. If Rico Dowdle isn't going to be a 75, 80% of the snaps guy, which I don't think he is, I think it's going to be closer to like a 65-35 split. Trevor Etienne might get early down work, and that makes me very, very in on him. Let's keep it moving. Tampa Bay taking on Seattle. And this is probably my favorite game on the entire slate, just from just from an observant standpoint. Like as an observer, I can't believe how good Seattle's defense is. I also cannot believe how good we are seeing Seattle play offensively within themselves. Now, you go to Sam Darnold with my Minnesota Vikings last season. Obviously, it was unexpected. He came from the absolute clouds, but Sam Darnold was the number 1 PFF graded quarterback through 3 weeks. Insane stuff, but it's a great offense that can be predicated on the run with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, and then has an alpha. There's an absolute alpha in Jackson Smith-Njigba. This dude is very special. I don't think he got enough love for how good he was. And in fact, you don't ship DK Metcalf, him and those biceps, let me tell you. Oh, strong men built like bull. Just saying. Freaking DK Metcalf gets sent out on a rail. Oh, who are they going to find as a number 2? It doesn't matter if you have Jackson Smith-Njigba who gets open on every route. Have you ever seen him even have to make a contested catch? This dude is so open against Arizona. It's disturbing. And I know the first half, Arizona completely sold out to try to stop him. But second half, they made the adjustments at halftime and the switch flipped. Jackson Smith-Njigba is just incredible. I find it so disingenuous that he is at plus 140 anytime touchdown. I cannot even tell you. Sure, there's a very good chance that you have things work out for Kenneth Walker, for Zach Charbonnet. Good luck guessing, considering they're basically just complete 50-50 time split when healthy. But I also like Rachaad White in this spot. You have absolutely no clue what is going to happen here with Sean Tucker snaps. I have no clue. You have no clue. None of us know. But what I do know is Rachaad White was playing in clutch time, even with Bucky Irving healthy, and now Bucky Irving is out for this football game. Baker Mayfield's arm is like falling off right now. I hope he's okay because one of the tougher dudes and one of the best stories in the NFL, coming back from Cleveland and Carolina, and then plays like 2 weeks for the Rams and gets this contract in Tampa as Tampa bought in to what he could be. And boy, has he been special. But Rachaad White, plus 145 and Jackson Smith-Njigba plus 140. I think these are incredible values. I actually like the Jackson Smith-Njigba play a little bit more. That's why I attached it to the thread at Eric Lindquist. Lindy's Long Shots. That's where you can find some plus money plays for me every single day across multiple sports, multiple markets. Would love to have you guys check that out on a weekly basis as well. Hit that like button, subscribe on notification bell. Eric, you're only talking props. I told you I'm going to be more prop-centric than Lofty is earlier in the week, who is definitely getting you ahead of the curve with spreads, totals, and then throwing some single game parlay action for the people over on X, as well as on the expert picks thread over at Tails. Tails.bet. You go to the link below, sign up. But let's round it all out here with Washington and the Chargers. I'll give you a spread, friends. We've got Jaden Daniels back in our lives here for week 5. Marcus Mariota, really good week 3, really bad week 4. Not much to say. Actually, he didn't play that bad against Atlanta. Atlanta played Super Saiyan, pissed off. We lost 30-0 to Carolina kind of mode. And there wasn't a lot they could do to stop Bijan Robinson because Bijan Robinson knows how to play football. And Kyle Pitts is coming alive. And we're not focusing on that game. Let's focus on Washington. Deebo Samuel apparently going to play here in this one, getting dinged up. Washington really, really hurting for wide receivers here at the moment. It is going to be tough times, I think, against the Chargers defense that I thought got a little bit lucky and still ended up losing a football game. I mean, man, Malik Neighbors, if that injury doesn't happen there too, I think they just continue to keep the gas on the pedal. And I think that could have gotten even more lopsided, but that's neither here nor there. What is here for this game is the Chargers have Justin Herbert. This guy just continues to impress. Everything he does is turning into gold, and not just because his girlfriend's super hot too now, but I love my wife. We've got so much data on Justin Herbert. It was brutal for him the last 2 weeks, though. I'm just going to say, your passer rating sub 77, sub 58. These are not the kind of things Justin Herbert, who had been above 122 his first two starts against Kansas City and Vegas, is going to do. But Justin Herbert's going to come back in a big way against a Washington defense that is just struggling here at the moment. I do not think that Jaden Daniels, with like a knee brace and in this capacity, is going to be able to do enough against Derwin James and company. Chargers -2.5. I really like them inside of a field goal here. If you have to play this at 3, please bet it at least around even money, -105 at the very worst. Do not take this a -110 at 3. You're able to get -2.5s pretty much everywhere here at the moment still. So take advantage of it. Get it even up to -120. I'm all right. I'm all right taking the Chargers at those kind of numbers. I think this spread is not indicative of how good the Chargers have the capability of playing at home on turf with Justin Herbert at the helm. Hey, Hampton, nice to see him come back alive. It took a Najee Harris injury, but it is what it is. Let's get the heck up out of here. That does it for week 5, friends, on Sunday. I'll be breaking down Monday's game for sure. We'll be having MLB playoff stuff. It'll be game 3s next time you'll see me over in the Odd Shopper channel. We'll cover all of that goodness, but I'm constantly betting. I mean, shit. I just ended up on a Freddie Peralta over 6.5 strikeouts plus 148 prop. I didn't see that one coming. I've been tracking it for a while because I thought I had a chance to get up there, but the whole point is that I'm always working hard for your money. Go to the doctor, get lipo with your money. We got weekly, $10, monthly, $25. Promo code Lindy NFL. Would love to see you there. And that does it for another edition of NFL Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Head to the comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays. Obviously, a little bit more prop-centric here. I promise you. I'm trying to bet those spreads earlier in the week. We can do some of the teasers and stuff that I haven't done so far through 4 weeks. I'm going to be paying attention to those closer to kickoff here, see if we can't find ourselves a couple of edges. In the NFL streets. I have a 2-team teaser that I'm really paying close attention to heading into tomorrow. But you can find out what that is. Lindy NFL. Check it out. Or head to tails.bet/Lindy. Throwing out some freebies here for the people from time to time as well. Until next time, friends, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NFL streets on Sunday. Best of luck.